Hi, I'm Jared Winter. I was formerly trained as a chef by Mr. Brickner for our macaroni bar and grill. Come over here. Mr. Brickner taught me a bunch of great things about leadership and how it's very important that the customer is always right. The customer is number one. In what ways was Norman Brickner a manager? Norman Brickner was a great manager because he had a managerial style of getting involved but not being over involved. In class, we learned about the laissez-faire style of management, and I wouldn't directly say that Mr. Brickner had this style of management, but it was tended to be more similar to be involved but not be overly involved in the management sector. In what ways was he a leader? He was a great leader because no matter what business and what restaurant he was at the time, he would always have a sense of leadership and just an aura around him that the rest of the employees and customers felt, and as a result, it made them work harder and it made the consumers and customers come in and buy and support the business. Describe the nature of fellowship that Norman Brickner has sought to develop at Brickner Internationals. Mr. Brickner wanted to get a sense that the customer is always right and that the customer is important and should be valued, because in a classic style of business, if the customer is not happy and if the customer is not receiving the type of service that they expect, then they're no longer going to go to that restaurant or support that business, which is not a good business plan or business style. So Mr. Brickner realized this and put a great deal of emphasis on how important the customer is and the relationship between the customer and the restaurant itself. What skills would you personally need to develop to become a leader like Norman Brickner? Personally speaking, Norman Brickner had great communication skills. He was able to communicate with a bunch of different individuals from lots of different backgrounds and get them all involved and focused on the same task, which was the success of that specific restaurant. Me personally speaking, I would need to work a little bit more on my communication skills, which would lead to me being able to communicate with individuals from all different backgrounds, which would be very beneficial in the business field because you never know where you're going to end up. What could you do to develop or refine those skills? So at Butler University, there's multiple classes that I've taken on speech, such as speech for business, real business experience, first year business experience. But to build upon that, I would continue to practice my public speaking and really take in the criticism and work on improving what was not as strong during my public speaking performances. What do you think is the most important leadership lesson in this case? Explain your answer. I think the most important leadership lesson in this case that Mr. Brickner showed throughout his career is honestly just the sense of a leader don't have to be forceful. A leader can take a step back and let the employees learn from their mistakes, but not put the employees in a situation where they're going to make a bunch of mistakes. Norman Brickner really believed that winners attract winners, and because of this, he would find individuals that showed certain flares of success or work ethic or drive that he showed and put great emphasis on his own career. And he would find these individuals and he would help them get to a certain point in their own careers through their development in his own franchises and businesses and restaurants.